Hi friends, my name is Emily and welcome back to my channel. Today we're jumping back into my reading journal. I'm going to share with you the stats from Q1, from the first quarter of 2021, and show you my tracking. And this is also a sort of quarterly goals check-in because I did have some reading goals that were stats based that I want to see how I'm doing on. I'm going to be sharing with you my reading journal, the stats for the first quarter of 2021. I do have a previous video showing, I believe, February because I'm just playing with this kind of content. So I did February, I believe. I didn't do January, I didn't do March, but I did February. We'll see how it's going. So generally, I have been picking a theme and coordinating it to my bullet journal just so that this little pot of markers gets to be pared down. This month, the inspiration in both the reading journal and my bullet journal is this washi set from Rifle Paper Co. They're beautiful and I was matching it to my calendar, but the calendar this month is boring. It's just like a pink and a green and that's it. And that's not very fun. And why not have fun? While it isn't the end of March, I don't anticipate reading much more in this month. Today is the 28th, I believe. We're just gonna go for it. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is go through the stats. So we have to fill out this page first. Why don't I keep this in the same journal? Because I dip in and out of my bullet journal daily, but I do not dip in and out of the reading journal daily. Okay, so I assume M stands for medium, but it's the boldest fine liner that I own. So I read 5 things and 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are new buys. Only one thing came from my TBR. I did 0 rereads and 0 borrows for a total of 5. 4 of the authors were women, 1 was a man, 3 were BIPOC, and I don't think there are any like out queer authors. And then I've also been keeping track of what I hauled, and I only read 2 of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is plus 6, which is not great. So I thought it would be interesting to go through the stats page for each and to see how I'm actually doing. So let's set that up first. I'm gonna take a little bit of this probably want to be a little bit more neutral. All right, so here you see me checking out the previous theme and then going with something a little bit similar. So we have a fat black marker that I'm using to create a little border around the outside. I like doing this just to sort of delineate the space. I don't know. I think it looks good. And then I am using a gray Crayola Super Tips just to create a little squishy background. And I'm going to use these alphabet stamps to stamp on Q1 stats. I really like using the stamps. I know it takes a little bit more time, but also I kind of like how they're not like perfect, but they're also not my boring everyday handwriting. And then I'm just following, oh, the tab was bugging me. Yeah, I ripped that off and finished the border off. So then I'm just looking through and I'm going to put these same categories in. So you see me stamping new buy, TBR, reread, and borrow. You know, I probably could just work on improving my handwriting in different fonts, but for now I'm having fun with the stamps. Obviously, none of this is like mandatory or like you could totally do this on an Excel spreadsheet, much easier, but I'm having fun with this. And while I'm having fun with this, why not do it? So you see me filling in the stamps. I'm going through each of the 3 months, January, February, March, and adding up the numbers for each of the categories, and then you will see me add them up and realize that it's off by 2 books from Goodreads. In the first 3 months of 2021, I, according to my stats keeping, read 11 newly purchased books, picked up 5 from my TBR shelves, so for me that means anything that I did not buy in 2021, did 4 rereads, and borrowed 1 book from Libby. It's 21 books. Okay, so this 21 baffled me, and I actually went through the reading journal and Goodreads, and I could not for the life of me figure out why Goodreads was saying 23 and my numbers came to 21. Like, I was fully convinced that, like, I had mathed wrong, and it appears to be a bug in Goodreads. So I reread Alana and I reread Moxie, and I went to the exact same copy as I had read the first time, and on the picture it shows a little 2, indicating that I've reread it, and it looks like Goodreads is counting that as 2 books in my 2021 reading challenge. So I did send them a message being like, this is, I think, a bug. Because I did flip through, and I was baffled. I did end up cutting it out, but like I scrolled through and I matched up all the books, and that is the only thing I can think of. The third reread that I did this year was one of the Stephen King books, and I believe that I updated the cover version of it. So it's the correct cover now, which means that I have, in Goodreads' mind, read a different book. I've read a different edition, right? So that's why there's only a discrepancy of 2. That is the only thing that I can think. Initially when I did this, I thought that maybe it was like I'd checked something off that I'd read in 2020 and just hadn't checked it off fast enough and it got counted. But no, it's a Goodreads bug. So yeah, that was fun. Definitely didn't lose like 20 minutes of my life matching up the books, only to discover it wasn't my fault. Just spent a good like 20 minutes going back and forth between Goodreads and these numbers. Goodreads numbers are wrong. 21 is correct. I read 14 women, 7 men, 5 authors of color, 3 authors that are out and vocal about being queer. That is 66.6 repeated percent women, 23.8% BIPOC, and 14, I think it's like 14.3, but I'm rounding down to 14 for queer, 14% queer authors. These numbers are not great given my reading goals. So if we flash back to here, I want to read 50 books. I'm on my way there. 21 in the first quarter. If my goal is 50, I think that's good. I'm striving towards reading 80% women and 50% BIPOC authors. So I am quite a bit off in both categories. However, I'm not reading as much as I used to. And 2 of the things for each of these months are patron driven. So right now we are reading Lord of the Flies by William Golding for the April book club. This is a patron submitted choice, a patron voted on read. And then also we're working on a Stephen King project. So for the past year, the past 3 months especially, we've been reading the Dark Tower books. So again, that counts towards, like, there's basically like guaranteed men that will be read in every month because of the patron book club, and because I'm only reading a few books a month now, that really shifts the numbers, I think, right? These are something that I want to keep in mind, keep at front of mind, especially because I do have less time to read now. If I want to achieve these goals and I am prioritizing new buys, things that are coming in, am I buying all white men? Like, why am I doing that if this is my goal, like to read more diversely, to read more women's voices? So this, I think, is a good check-in. Okay, the last section that I'm going to build here is hauled. Eight plus 4, 8, 9, 10, 12. 18. I have hauled 18 books, and if we look at how many new buys that I've read, I think I'm doing an okay job reading what's coming in, but clearly not the best job if I'm buying more than I can read. So the other thing I think that might be worth checking in on is this. The 21 books in 2021, I have picked off 5 of them. Not my top 5, but 5 of them. And I'm actually almost all the way through Deathless right now, so I'll be able to check off another one of those. The current spillover reads, I really haven't touched. So I'm thinking about filming a reading vlog where I tackle this and either unhaul it, finish it, or like take it off this list and put it back on my shelf for a different point in my life. All right, so I just realized I wasn't recording, but I'm in the process of setting up my April stats page. Okay. So, just like all the other pages, I actually really like this setup. So I have a little cover page. I'm gonna use the same tab. It brings me to the right spot. This is where I realized that I was no longer recording. So we're gonna pop in. So I go back to that stamp set, just putting in all of the same categories that I'm tracking, and then you can see me sort of using these squares in this moleskin journal to, like if it's one letter a square, I am counting out how many squares I need for the letters in each word, and then instead of like going back and touching the B like 5 times, I'm putting the B in all the places I need the B, or all the R's in all the places I need the R, just to save myself a little bit of time. And then I am using a Zebra mild liner in Coral Pink. I believe this one comes in like their most standard, like original package of markers, just because it matches with that washi tape that I really like. To save time, you'll see me fold the page in half and like use the stamp, use the E as many times as possible, as many times as I need it. Right now I'm having fun with the stamps. If not, I'll stop it. It's that simple. Like, I know it looks kind of tedious, and it is in some ways, but also I find this relaxing just to sort of sit here and set this up, so it doesn't have to be time effective. I set aside this time to make something pretty, to make it make me happy. So, and then you're watching me set up this hold section. I sincerely hope that I haul nothing in April. I know that's not going to be true because I have some pre-orders, but I mean, already I've hauled so many things. All right. So this is what I'm leaving myself for April. This is my little check-in all set up and filled out. There we go. That brings me to the end of this reading journal video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you keep track of your stats? I haven't in the past broken the stats down in this way because I feel a little gross about diversity bingo, like that idea of identity being something that you can check off, but then at the same time, if I'm not paying attention, how am I holding myself accountable to my goals to read widely and diversely if I'm not actually being cognizant of that, right? That's why I've chosen to stats track this year. Thank you to my patrons who actually suggested I start sharing reading journal content. My patrons make videos like this possible. They allow me to set aside time to do stuff like this, to film and to edit. The Patreon book club reads currently are The Wolves of the Kala, which is the 5th book in Stephen King's Dark Tower series, and Lord of the Flies by William Golding. This is the April drop-in book club pick. If you're interested in joining in those live discussions, links to the Patreon page are in the description box down below. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy producing that content. Thank you, patrons, for your support. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye!